Okay, July 2024. Thank you for everybody for coming. Okay, so we call the meeting to order. Judy, do we have a quorum?
So we call roll and I do believe we have a quorum.
Okay, so we call roll.
Councillor King.
Here.
Councillor Andreka. Here. Councillor Wolf.
Here.
Councillor Short. Here. And Councillor Collins. Okay, we have a
That
quorum.
sounds good. So the next on our agenda is our consent agenda for the 6/24/24 minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look at them? Okay, any questions? Okay, you got entertain a motion to approve.
Also move that we accept the minutes of June 24th as submitted.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, great. Motion is carried. Thank you very much. So announcements.
Just have to do a quick vote.
I'm
Just
sorry.
have to do a quick vote.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Okay. All in favor, raise your hand. Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I guess not. Thank you. Okay. And so announcements. We'll start around the table. Do you have any announcements? Do you want to tell us maybe about what your HOA's doing?
Okay, so just real briefly, so when our HOA has emergency preparedness committee, and we were talking about the wildlife situation, that wildlife will also be looking for high ground. And so we came up with that part of our personal cash, we would have airports. And then that would be able to keep we'd be able to do that to keep anything, scatter anything, and then who knows what the sources, how many things we could use it for. And they're inexpensive, and so several of us just ordered air horns, and now we all have those.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was I felt like it was a really nice fix to something that people were, rather than getting.
You know what would not be a great idea? I don't even know how we could do this, but it'd be really nice for the HOAs in town to get together. And sometime just have like a community center.
That's a great idea.
And just share, because I think sometimes you can communicate with her, what have you, but Belleville Code can certainly give us.
That would be, that's a nice idea.
Yeah.
Already, it's neighborhoods that are already organized for them to get together, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I just think that would be kind of
Yeah,
fun to do.
totally.
That sounds good. Okay. Randy?
Nothing really too much to report. I did go to the Hatfield area, got a tour of the building and did take a look at what we now have in our hands here. And the wonderful manual, which was great.
Yeah.
We mentioned some of the things there about having the netting and the clearly color-coded tape and such to identify the box and stuff like that. That was really helpful. Our Little Cove Safety Committee has just about finished. We had to relocate our strategic operations center where we had our cash as well and stuff. And, so we're just finishing redoing that. It's bigger space, not quite as convenient, but bigger space and stuff. So one of the things that we may also talk with you all here though is trying to get a clearer understanding of the community radio communications. And who we had, Pierre, who's been there for a long time, as ham operator and very involved with the county.
Yeah, he talked to us.
And my understanding he's going to be moving soon.
Oh, that's
I don't know if that's just out of Little Web Cove or out of the area. But even before that, we were saying, one person shouldn't be the only. So those of us, I'm on the communication committee there, so we're trying to get a meeting with Michael, thank you, with Michael, just to see, because we're like, well, who do we, contact for that communication? And we're also starting a tabletop exercise, which was going to be scheduled for August, but it's now going to be in September, where we do a tabletop simulation. So of a specific event, we're going to start with a smoke and fire event, and we're doing the prep for that. So we'll have a facilitator who's going to lead the simulation with unexpected surprises, all that kind of stuff. Whoever shows up from committee at this first one, we'll have to assume whatever roles we need, and kind of run through how our directions are going and stuff, so. It's gonna be interesting to see, we've had a couple preparatory meetings, for that, and, you know, it's a lot of things we didn't really think through at first of what that would be like, but, our hope is to have like 4 a year that are eventually open to anybody in Little Well Cove in this case, so that, we would just have this information, people who haven't been directly involved have some kind of binder, you showed up. And, you know, here's the scenario, what can we do and such, so, and we're kind of dividing those scenarios up by the categories that OSU gave, and I can't list off what all those were, but, yeah.
So do you have Michael Davis' phone number?
Yeah, we do have the
Okay,
contact
okay.
information, thank you.
You're sure welcome, but, he would be the one to start with.
Yeah.
Obviously. And so,
Thank you.
that's good, okay, and Karen?
Fortunately, I don't have anything to update with your guys'
Okay.
great information.
I think it would be great to have Michael Dane get on board with this committee as well, as an agenda item, just to bring us all up to date of what his needs are for communications and how we should be working with him again. Since I'm back on it, but we'll walkie-talkie, but I've never turned it on or anything. It's like, I'll get to you eventually.
I know, yeah, that's, you know, I agree with you. In fact, that's interesting, you're talking about the radios. One thing that I wanted to mention is that we've gotten out of the habit of radio checking. What we would do every Saturday at 11, have a radio check. And so when Chris Berry was on our committee, she would be on there at 11, I would, Karen and Deb, and then a lot of times Brady would, and so we would just kind of like check with each other. We had smaller radios at first, and then we all got larger radios, and they seemed to work better, but with schedules and summer and what have you, it's just sometimes hard, but I want to get back in the habit, because my husband Dennis is always shaming me, well, did you, you know, no, I forgot, you know, or something, so let's try it this Saturday, you want to do that?
Sure.
Saturday 11. So all we do, with your radio, we're on channel 7, and just say this is Randy, and.
We actually have, we've been doing that for years, we do it, the first Monday of every month.
What channel do you use?
We also use channel 7, although that's one of the things I want to talk to Michael Dane about, because it sounds like channel 17 is soon becoming the,
And then I've also heard the same thing about channel 16 from Captain Van.
Yeah, so-
Fire to the fire department. So yeah, I would love to get some channel clarification, yeah.
but we have developed an actual log with instructions that we give the commander, like if you're the first one to know about an event, and you're the first one on the radio, it's a word for word script, what to say, and then a log in our area of the safety captain, so we, every month, you know, have who's there. I mean, you know, people miss and such, but the idea is that people get used to holding in the button the whole time after they finish talking, or not holding the button. Plus, then we also practice saying, you know, the area is green, you know, those kind of things.
Wonderful. So, as a possible future agenda item, could you maybe help us with that, to maybe the protocol for the city?
Sure.
No, that would be really great.
I've had my radio on at 11 on Saturdays, but I don't hear anybody call, and I don't want to be the instigator.
That would be helpful. Thank you very much. And one thing that I wanted to mention, Karen shared with me, I think some of you, about this wonderful article that she saw with OPB, or Oregon Public Broadcasting. Really had good information, and I'll just kind of paraphrase it a little bit. It was a group of scientists went out to like the Salmon River estuary and researched how far the tsunami would travel in 1700. I don't know how far they went, that wasn't really clear, but they had this big hole that archaeologists use and what have you, that drilled down into 4 samples of the dirt, and then they could tell that they had the dirt, and they could tell when it was 1700 when the tsunami came, because it was sand, and then it became dirt again. but I don't know how far it went. I would love to know.
That would be
You know,
interesting.
that would be great. And the article also included lots of information about how the state of Oregon is preparing also, how to survive multiple quake and how badly our current bridges and roads are in bad shape. So they're trying to figure out how to fix that. And so that was a really good article. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And it's actually, I think, 2 videos and a.
Yeah.
Like a,
I always like
Radio
pages,
show or
it was like
something,
pages
yeah.
of stuff to look at, so that would be good. Thank you.
I watched the video.
So Randy, I can send that to you if you'd like.
Yeah.
And Kathy,
I think she sent it to me also, it's good, yeah.
All right.
And the other one, it was also good on Friday. Is that Saturday that you sent? Yeah, that's good.
Wonderful.
Sometimes you just keep awake at night thinking,
Yeah.
sorry, can I run?
I always think, okay, when my gas tank gets to half a tank, I fill up, and it's like, I'm not gonna be in Newport until Friday, and I'm already down this far, and I wait, that'll be when it happens, when I don't fill up.
No,
Mhm.
I think those are the exact same things. Oh my gosh, what am I, yeah, do the exact. I actually get gas right here. This, if I'm like driving home, like, oh, I forgot to get a Fred Meyer's, like, I gotta get it, cause I promised myself I'd never let it go below.
And that's probably what I'll do.
That's what you do too? I know. You pay the extra because you just figure like
Well,
tonight.
you can use your Freddy's points here. But you can't tell them which month to use, like if you still got some June, they just use whatever.
They can
comes
use
up.
your Fred Meyer's?
Oh, you're correct.
Oh, yeah.
Shell.
Yeah, I didn't know that. You just hand them your Fred Meyer card? Oh, okay, great.
Save some money.
Yeah, well, that's, do you do it here all the time?
I used to, but then.
But it's a little bit
They wouldn't
more
fill it
expensive.
up all the way
Right.
and.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like,
But I'm the same way. If it's in at half, I'm like, feel like I'm out of gas. I mean, I just don't let myself see that other.
ever since Y2K, I've done that.
Yeah,
Yep.
wow.
Yeah.
We're old, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Oh, he's bringing back, oh my God.
We're just planners.
That's pretty scary.
Very
I just saw a comedian that was on YouTube or something, was talking about, well, I have to tell all of you, I'm from the last century, you know. I don't know if you can understand anything that I'm saying, but that's kind of scary. Okay, so now owned business, contact suggestions for the city website. So Kathy and I got together today and we just came up with, we're just starting this process and you need to get together maybe on a regular, absolutely on a regular basis. We got some ideas of how to start it, so here's some of the things that we came up with. Evacuation plans to be posted on the city website. We want to start formulating a welcome manual for all new people. We've talked about this before. When you come, you're a new citizen of the city, here's your manual. We also talked about having another event where the manuals are given out, you know, to people at these events that we have with an emergency manager. And so I was thinking about that too, that I like the idea, but instead of a manual, wouldn't it be nice to have something to where we could, like, if new information came, take that page out and like a binder type of thing. So I don't know what the cost would be, but I think the city website information is terrific. But how many really want to read? I think you would be more likely to read a manual. I'm thinking that you would, as long as it's not too complicated or anything like that, just some very basic things. So anyway, that's sort of what I had in mind to do that.
But to tag on to that thought, so the number of non-residents that would be here in an event, that if that was, so depending upon the mix, as you were talking, I was picturing a non-resident section as a different color, which is more money. But that would be the not so, and actually on the website, now that I'm saying that out loud, so in an event, if the towers are still up, so now you grabbed your phone, because that's what young people do. So they'll grab their phone and they'll go to our website, would be my guess. And then if there was a banner right there, if you are a visitor, you know, like a banner, like click here, which would tell them, immediately, then at least we got the information to them what we want them to do.
And make the motels and timeshares and
Post it
vacation
on their-
rentals all have that announcement or
Right,
clearly posted.
right,
On this-
exactly.
On the posted escape plan.
Exactly,
Bold
that is
at the
right,
top.
and you go, and then there's right for, exactly, so that they don't have to weed through ours, it's just, because what we need them to know is not
Right.
everything.
Exactly.
It
And
needs,
I do know that Kim is working on an ordinance to have every, in fact, this was brought up in the last city council meeting, and she said she's working on an ordinance.
yes,
So
I think that's super,
that's super too, for any type of establishment.
absolutely.
And one of our city council members has a hotel here in town, and he said, well, it shouldn't just be the hotels, it should be your restaurants, and it should be anybody in the tourist area shops.
Right.
Right.
And any type of thing like that too, so I thought that was good.
Because when they're, okay, so what we're all gonna do, so when there's the rumble, we're not gonna, that's where we're not gonna waste seconds by turning and looking for, you're gonna immediately, where I am, I'm already up house, but so you're gonna head to high ground, you're gonna get to a safe place. So let's pretend now this is happening and everybody's down here, so the shop owners would need to say that out loud. Go to high ground,
Yeah.
get in a safe, because everybody's gonna be just like standing there. Not really, you know, just like, hey, and they're gonna be like, well, did you feel that? And then everybody just needs to, time is everything, right? That's what we've been learning with the 2 weeks, right? It's the time that you waste. You know, like, did you feel that or?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Well,
I
What
think-
are you doing up there?
Exactly.
And I think it's a bigger challenge, I like the idea,
Yeah,
I think it's a bigger challenge because the instinct for anybody that's visiting is gonna be hop in the car and
that's
drive
exactly
somewhere.
right. Oh,
And that's what we have to stop,
That's exactly
because
right.
the road will be shut down before they even,
That's exactly right.
Well, and the bridge will be down more than likely. That's
yeah,
what
but
we're
even
saying.
if it wasn't,
Yeah.
the road will be,
It's got, they're gonna end up trapped along the way,
they're
it's
gonna
gonna
end up
be,
trapped.
that's
The
right.
trains are gonna be down, the roads.
And it's gonna be closer really from here to
Wires.
see, there's a hill, right?
That's right, go,
But
right.
I'm not quite sure how we dissuade that
Exactly
instinct.
right, just
For
don't get in your
visitors.
car.
I'll just get in the car and whoa.
Your car's a
Yeah,
death,
I
just
want.
start screaming, your car's a death trap.
Yeah.
You know?
We need
Right.
to come up with a creative tagline that kind of says,
Exactly.
you feel the shake, you run for the hills.
Right,
something.
that's that, oh.
Don't drive, run.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh,
Run
that's,
to a hill near
right,
you.
not your car, use your voice.
Well, on the city website,
And
we
the
could
road
have
is
like
like-
a car
No,
with
yeah.
like a,
Yeah, exactly right,
Yeah.
oh, absolutely, because you're exactly right, and they're all gonna be, I didn't
Especially
even think about
guests.
that.
They don't know the
They're
vulnerability of
just
the
gonna head to
road.
their cars.
They're gonna hit the car and they don't realize you
With
gotta go a
dogs
long
and
way
dogs,
before you're gonna even
yeah.
be able to get. And everybody who else that's having that instinct is trying to get on the road and roads are just gonna be blocked.
So you know the maps that are at the park, so whenever I go to any of the beaches, whenever I just go take my, there's a thing right there, and and you have to walk by it before you get there, so Buddy and I are walking along, and I just remind myself every time, oh yeah, it's right up this way, and the Tucson is Fogarty, you gotta like go through the
Yeah.
woods to get
Yeah.
anything in Fogarty. But it's like, okay, I'm gonna, so I'm always aware, because that, it's bright, it's yellow, do you know that? We're all doing it because we've seen it.
Yeah.
So maybe map like that on the foot of Collins and
Keep running. Don't stop.
Stop, right, with the little tagline,
Yeah.
right.
For the hills, don't drive.
okay. And so this has been mentioned before, this is on our Kathy and Joyce shortlist to do.
Okay.
Would be to, have your calendar, okay, January you do this.
Yeah.
February you do this, and what have you. And, I want to ask Kim if we could possibly mail those calendars out in our utility bill. Kathy, do you know if that's possible?
Yeah, I believe we could, do something like that.
Yeah, but I think.
Not with the utility bill, but I think we still have a bulk mailing
Okay,
permit, and then just do a bulk mailing of, let's get started.
Okay.
Here's how you get started or something like
I'm
that.
sorry,
Here's how to start your.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Once a month.
Once a month, okay.
And it could even be on the website for people that either don't live here or are thinking of moving here and want to know in advance, they can download it.
Yeah, we talked about doing that on the website too.
These are good ideas, guys, thank you. And then, we didn't get too far, but one thing that we are looking at is one of our top 5 or 6 things we want to do right away is work on some type of fire drill, fire safety, what have you. Not sure, we looked at several different websites to see what they had and didn't find a whole lot, but I'm sure we can find that. And so we went, Kathy had our computer and we pulled up Detroit, because surely they have a plan, but we didn't go into too deep, but they had basically pictures of before and after, what have you. So we'll dive into that deeper to see, what they're doing now, what type of service they had. And Kathy said she talked to the mayor of Detroit, and he says mostly all the communication was on Facebook. And I said, that's what Deb said.
Exactly.
During
I
the
had
freeze.
no idea.
Yeah,
I had no idea that's where.
yeah,
Luckily, my sister's the one that.
yeah.
That's the only way I was able to get information, because Central Lincoln Put they didn't put anything on their website, but they put everything on their Facebook page.
Who knew?
Who knew? And so that was how we stayed updated. I mean, just as long as you know,
Well, and whatever it takes,
Whatever it takes.
whatever it takes.
Right.
So they were smart enough to figure out that they can still get messages on Facebook, so that's good.
Hmm.
And we also want to work on pet safety,
That's right.
That's really
Oh,
important, So that's good. So when you look at my agenda's a little bit off on my notes. Okay, number B, anybody else have any comments on the website? Bowman Properties. So Bowman Properties, as you know, is what I have been looking at, I think since about February. And Lindsay, our former counselor, mentioned that there's a property by her house by the post office that is flat and looks like it might be for sale. So she looked it up and gave me information as to research it further. It looks really good, guys. It's flat. If you look at the Gami map, it looks like, there might be water towards like where the tide pool is.
yes.
But, there's also, the further you get it towards Williams, and we could put several, caches on thinking for that part of town, because there's just not much there. I did see another property, on Lane Street in Williams, behind those new townhouses that face 101. And there's property for sale there. And it's larger than what we want, and it's quite a bit more than what I think we talked about. So I want to talk to the city council to go ahead and do an acquisition, but I want to see what your thoughts are as a committee.
I think being able to say head to the post office is huge. People who are, you notice where the post office is, even if you're a non-resident. It's just where, either you say that or one of the dispensaries. You would know where they are. No, I mean, it's really, or Pirates Cove, or, you've gotta say something that they know. The post office is people know that, and it's close enough to where it could be a great gathering point for, but it's right there, on the.
And it is high enough, and I'm not as familiar with it. So it's like right behind the post office
No,
or
it's
further?
actually, you know where the Tide Pool restaurant is? Okay, it's right there. And Rowan Properties is a realtor, and they're out, I think, out of Hillsborough, I believe. And so they actually own the property that the post office is on.
Okay.
And so what they're looking to do, and I got permission to mention this to city council, so I'll mention it to you. He just out of the blue said, we own both those properties. I didn't fully realize that. But what they want to do with the money spent is to refurbish the post office. Well, I'd like to be able to see that. They're gonna put a new roof on it, they're gonna paint it, they're gonna do striping and stuff, so they're putting the money back into the city, which I thought was really, that's their plan, I think it's a good idea, it's a lot of money, it's like $93,100. I'm not sure what we will, make a bid for that particular land, I think that's something that Kim would do. But, I think we could get it maybe less than that, but I'm not sure, I don't know.
So, pardon me for,
Yeah,
does the property that is for sale have building on it, or is it,
it's flat.
it's
just
flat and there's
yeah.
no structure on it at this point?
And so that makes it perfect.
Yeah, right.
And they also, the realtor also owned kind of some property behind the post office, but it's a hill and you have to flatten it down. This is just sitting there. You know, there's lots and lots of weeds on it, it's undeveloped. But, there's really nothing in that part of town that I'm familiar with.
Oh, that sounds like a
Do
great
that.
idea.
So, any thoughts?
I like that idea, going with that one, keeping with that one personal, like, I'm heading for the post office would be
Yeah,
ideal.
yeah,
And, I think if we could get 93,000 for it, we've got 100,000 in the budget. And
Yeah.
All we need basically is some grading done and
we just need to
gravel
do the
and,
grass mode.
a 10-foot fence.
Yeah, that's true, that's true. So do I hear a motion to present it to city council?
So moved.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and second. So I'd like to, hear who all's in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's not, okay, carries, thank you very much. Any more conversation about it? Okay, it looks like the motion's carried, and, I'll take this to city council when Kim can put it on the agenda to talk to them about it, so that's good. Thank you very much. Okay, let's see. So caches, so this is a huge item, guys. We've got, right now we have supplies for roughly 200 people we've got, and Gina's been keeping an inventory of everything that we purchased. We have sleeping bags, we have blankets, we have tents, we have food, we have, we've purchased, water, what do they call it, livestock. I don't think they're in the caches now, so right now, we have two smaller caches. Right now, we have one that's pretty full, we've consolidated as much as we can. The other one is full of food, and it's like half of the cache is filled to put supplies in. There's 1 million supplies that we need whistles, we need,
Toilet
bicycle
paper.
pumps, what's that?
Toilet paper.
Toilet paper, you know, all this type of stuff, and so Kathy believes that we can probably put the rest of the supplies that we want in that half of the cache. So, you know, I was talking to Kathy about this morning, the fact that maybe, you know, I don't see that we can put, if we have two caches here at City Hall, we're gonna have to look to see if maybe we want a larger cache for a larger area, like where the Brolin property is, we could definitely do that. So we've got, and I know the county's working with Stonebridge for cache, not sure what size, but I think it would be really good for us to have the same inventory in all of the caches for roughly 200 people and keep it consistent.
I agree.
And so we do have Jeff Hudnall, who has the property down here with the, I think it's called Harbor View. He has let us know that we can put a cache there, so that's another property. And then, you know, so there's different possibilities going on, you know, we can have them, but we need to come up with a plan to have some type of manual and inventory control. So I'm asking the committee, does anyone have any experience with anything like that?
I do,
You do?
Yep.
Okay.
and I'll take it on. I'll redo her little thing so that we can divide all the,
Supplies.
supplies into what's in each cache, and we'll get it laminated and have it. And, give it all the committee members, and I'm trying to get Brady to put, like at the, place there in Newport, she had the key in one of those numbered things.
Yes,
And I'm trying to get that done so that we can get our code and not have to have keys passed around, so I'm working on that, but I'm happy to take on the, getting a master list of what's in each cache and posting it and.
That's great.
Would it be helpful on that inventory, I've seen this a couple other places where they used a system that either highlighted or somehow clearly indicated things that needed to be rotated.
Right,
You know, so that,
yes.
you know, at a glance, you wanna look at those things like every 4 years or every 2 years or
Every
whatever.
time, yeah.
That would be helpful, I think.
Yeah, I think that's in the Susan Graves book also, as I was reading her.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll relook at hers and find out what we need to. And basically, I think every 6 months just to go through the whole thing and just see how things are varying. How often do you go through yours?
A couple times a year.
Yeah, so I think
Just
that
make
would be,
sure we don't have any leaks or
right,
Yeah.
invasions of anything.
yeah.
So do we have the structure itself, the caches?
We're working on it, we've got a grant in place.
Oh, okay.
That, not in place, but applied for, that we're looking for another cache. And this one was supposed to be supplied, we were thinking of up at the Stonebridge area, of putting this one up there because, but, you know, we haven't gotten the grant and, so we're working.
So how many more structures do we need?
We're looking at, if you look at that map up there, we're looking at one by the post office, so that would be close to the North Point. We're looking at one for Stonebridge, and so that would be in the quadrant
Tell
over
me,
here.
Stonebridge is,
At the top of Collins and at the top of
yeah, I
Winchell.
don't know the street names yet.
Okay, behind the harbor, you
Okay,
know, of Winchell,
okay,
and it goes into Winchell as part of Stonebridge.
Thank you, Dan.
okay. So is that up in that area by the water tank?
No,
the
right,
water
that's-
tank is
that's-
up by the water tank.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, right
this
there.
is Stonebridge, right?
Oh, okay, so we're
Behind
just
the
bringing
back.
back, okay.
Yeah, right.
And then Bayview, is that what you,
I live in View of the Bay.
View of the Bay is,
Right.
that's the one that's nearer, closer to the,
And then we
Water
looked at, so View of the Bay approached Kim and the city engineer, and they came up and looked at a property that we had, was willing, we're saying here, you can have this, but they they said that it was not flat and that the amount of money to get it cash ready was, even though it was, when it was for free, it was gonna be too much. And then Kim also said that it was on a dead end street and so that it didn't have her good for auto access. I just like not to get into that since when I picture this event, I'm not driving my car anymore.
Yeah,
So, but I totally understand that it's not flat, it's on an incline, so it would be a lot to get it flat, so because that would, so there's one here, we're thinking one over here at the post office, which is here, right?
And then with, also in the future, maybe having some type of partnership with Walmart for all of their people. I don't know what that looks like, but.
Right, because
that's-
there's that property that's up here, the Desert Hills, sorry,
Is that-
Depot Hills,
is that
Walmart Hills of Depot Bay.
the one that's the Depot Hills.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're still in construction, so we keep waiting till there's more.
Yeah, pretty much. Have y'all driven up that way?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, it's really, they've come a long way.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I'm not part of that discussion.
Me either.
But I know that the city is trying to, they're not to the point of having an HOA yet. And when they do, then we'll be able to.
And then we'd be able to work with them, because that actually, just by location, would be where the folks from Walmart, because this is, so let's just pretend, so that's 600 people. So they would head up that hill and then there would be something there. There's nothing there, so at least now we can possibly say,
Something.
head to the post office.
They had to go to the post office. And then we have, do you know where Harbor View is? It's just right on Shell Street, right down here where the new townhouses are.
Oh,
So, where's City Hall?
I'm down. Keep going
Okay,
down.
so it would be right before you get to the harbor in the city park.
So it's in here.
Yeah.
That would be good, so that would be the other side of the bridge.
Yes.
That's the thing, because we're trying to focus, so you picture the bridge is not there. And so this is the city, and we have this one impediment. And so then you picture the quadrants, and then so you wanna be sure that there's cash. And so the way we were talking in the last year is that we take on a cashier. And then we just get it outfitted, we get the container, and we get it, and we get wherever we can get it. And so we've been, Stonebridge, we've got property, Stonebridge, we've got the grant we're hoping for. Now we're grabbing the property up here at the post office, now we do that. Lincoln City did it a little different, because I got to watch them have that conversation. And Lincoln City bought all the cash, no, take that back. They bought a they bought a bunch of supply. And then they bought there, I mean, they were doing it all, and now they're actually getting it set up. And we were thinking more to have something completed and then move on, and then have a model, and then, okay, we learned from that one, now this one we'll be able to do this way. And then that's kind of how and then we have talked about in the minutes at one point, that at one point, when we're really tricked out, we have 8. And how cool, we had 8 caches for our first Depoe. That's kind of that's kind of our goal, that we could do that.
And so then a couple of other thoughts on the south part of the bridge is that there is a water tank off of Indian Hills Drive, which is right here. Kim seemed to think, and Brady too, as I recall, that might be possible because we own the land where the water tank is. So it's out in the wilderness somewhere.
It's over here.
Over there. Would that
Yeah,
be
it's over here,
possible?
it's across from Little Well Cove,
And
which
then-
would then be cash.
And then another possibility would be just a storage unit.
Yes, and that's right over here,
Yeah.
it's a storage, you can just use that as an area, and to just have that, right.
And so that would be a good possibility for the people on south
From South Point going
South
over.
Point to go over to the storage unit or to the water tank or something like that. That's sort of what we're looking at. So,
I'm curious, you mentioned that World Mark, do they have a cache? Because where would
No.
they?
No,
I was gonna say, but
you know,
even
they're
if
not
they did,
prepared at all,
But where would they put it?
Partnership with the-
well,
they're not,
Hills of
they're not
Depoe.
doing anything.
but I mean, even if they were, their cache is right in the tsunami zone.
That's why we suggested, remember Joyce, we suggested to him that just to outfit backpacks in each room.
That got shot down, sadly.
Or go in partnership with Depoe Hills.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
that's
share
where
the
people are
cost
gonna
of
go.
putting the caches
Closest
up there. And the city should make them do that.
well, I'm sure Tom is working on that.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I mean, futuristically, we may be able to have them put a cache on our land or put it on a post office. That's very subjective. Who knows if
Right,
that's going to work?
Right, but this is something that's taking care of that whole boiler base, something in that area,
Yeah.
because we've got the stone there.
But the thing is, if we have an event, if we don't help them with the cache in that area, and say if if Hills of Depoe Bay is not done yet, they're still gonna come to the city. So, you just have to think broadly about what do we do, because you can't get out of here.
Right.
And so what are we gonna do? So these are all things that keep me up at night.
So that harbor lights or harbor, you said,
Overview.
it's just right down here.
Mhm.
So when the tsunami comes into the harbor, how far up is the water gonna get?
Well, we've said we want it pretty high up, on 40th Street, by that many understands, there, if you go down there and look at the townhouses, there's some area that's not, built up yet. And if I looked on the Degami, and that part of the land would not be in.
According to the
Degami.
studies they've done before they found how far the tsunami went, when they did
That's
that thing,
right, that's
they
right.
may be updating. the
Well, that's
maps.
right, but that's true. But then again, with that, we had the river, swimming the river,
Mhm.
and of course, I don't know,
Yeah,
but that's a good point.
but again, we can use the supplies for something other than Cascadia.
And I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
read my mind, so that's what Christine's voice often was at these moments. Christine Berry's voice often at these moments was, okay, but there's other events besides the Cascadia, and so this cash is gonna be used for, so we doesn't necessarily have to weather.
Yeah.
That-
Worse than-
Right, it could just, as long as the city is preparing and has supplies of some kind in areas that
Yeah.
Do we have, like sanitation supplies?
No, we have none of
Inventory
that.
yet, so that should be
I've got a whole
something.
list for you. That's all the things we
Yeah.
need.
Great, great. We will get all of that.
And then is that same list that the three of us worked on?
Yes,
Okay.
and I've been adding to it, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got lots to do there. And I also want to mention that the community center as a warming center or a shelter for fire evacuation, I'm gonna start on that pretty quick also, to get that set up, because it is cleaned out. And so, I'll get that, and I'll be asking for help with you, Commissioner.
That sounds really good. So anyway, we're at work, it doesn't seem like we're getting very far, but at least we're looking, moving forward. And it's kind of interesting because when Kathy and I went to these websites today, Seaside, we went to Kansas City, and I know that Yachts has done a lot of preparations and stuff, I'm thinking, I just feel like we're behind, because, I mean, if you go to the Seaside webpage, city webpage, it's just like.
But they have a
top-notch.
manager, an emergency
I
manager.
know,
We don't
I
have
know.
that.
And well, they're a bigger city too.
Yeah, they're much, right, yeah.
But my whole point is.
We do have Gina,
We have
she's
Gina.
up and going for it, so.
Yay.
Alright,
Well,
once a
the
day
whole
or
point-
once a month.
Well, but and the whole point is that we're doing something,
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right, that's,
instead of nothing.
After 3 years of just not getting anything done, we've got a lot.
That's right, because about 3 years ago, we started this committee, and it was Lindsay and Kathy and I was like, well, we don't know what we're gonna do, so we had people come in and talk to us from the Red Cross and things like that, then we got a little bit more sophisticated, we got these two women, which really helped a lot, because they are with HOAs and they're doing it and they've done it. And so I feel really good about, what we're able to do. Melvin, I think with your expertise and just jump in any time to give us advice on what to do.
well, it took 10 years, Little Whale Cove, to get to what
Was
we
it?
had about 3 years ago when I didn't know they had stuff. So it took 10 years.
Okay,
That's
well, we're
all
on
bad.
target then.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, and it's done well, but it took 10 years to get to the stage
Well,
that
and
is,
Well, and you need funding and you need,
yeah, I needed money.
and so we didn't, have all the funds in place, but now, we found the funds and we made it happen.
And I think what you also so when you talk about these other places that look like they've got it
Oh,
all
yeah.
turned down to go, you're looking at their websites.
yes,
And so, we can't do that till January 1 because of whatever's going on with the websites. But imagine everything that we've talked about. Imagine how tricked out we're gonna look in February. And then it's just everything that's happening right now just isn't visible. And so when you talk about these other places having their act together, it's makeup.
Yeah.
No, seriously, because I can tell you, the stuff that gets talked about around this table, I can't imagine is any more dynamic anywhere else. I would imagine that what happens in Depoe Bay is very dynamic. It's just that we're not showing it, and we will be once
Yeah,
we
that's
have
right.
access to
That's right.
a website. Everything that we talk about and be like, okay, we can't do that. We can't do because we have to wait.
we have to go with funding.
We have to wait until that happens. And so that happens after the first of the year. And then that's when what this group talks about is gonna become very visible. So because I don't hear any of these conversations anywhere on the coast. And when I bring stuff up, I say, we can't do it everywhere. And so we're like, so, what are you doing about it? I'm like, I'm standing in line and Enrique's getting talked. So, where do you live? I said, hey, what are you guys doing about being immersed? What are you talking about? I said, you have to go back in the car and they have no clue. They don't even think about it. They have no connection. I can tell you there are more people in the city who make the conscious choice not to be
I know,
prepared.
but they're heading the same.
But they are making that choice. Up here, all the way up and down the coast, people on that are clueless. They're not even thinking about it.
Well,
And they say, oh, you're talking about the tsunami signs? I'm like, okay, that's a start.
Yeah. Oh, you saw that sign.
Okay, you saw the sign, that's really good. And when you saw that sign, she says, oh, well, I would just not drive in, yeah. So, yeah, it's not good. And so, well, how, I said, well, that's it. And then I walk away and I'm like, well, my job is done. What more could I say? But I'm telling you, we have more conversations that have some meat to them here in Depoe Bay.
So once we've got the makeup.
Yeah.
I think
we'll go
because, I mean, look at what Little Well Cove's been doing, like you say, for 10 years, and now they're very active with the whole energy thing. I mean, there's stuff going on here that nobody has any idea, because we don't have a website that shows it, and we can't until January. So, no,
Okay, yeah, I thought that.
I think that's,
Good.
yeah, no, seriously.
You know, really, and the setup now is because before, we had ideas and it's really hard to push them forward. And now that we have Gina and Kim that are
Exactly.
so on top of everything, it's sort of like, well, you know, we have ideas and I felt sometimes they got lost or buried or something like that, so it's really good, we can push them through, so that's good.
Yeah, no, there's great plans.
That sounds good, all right. So to new business, let's see. Hatfield Marine Science Center cash handbook. So if you look at that, so, three of us were able to go on the tour and then you went on the tour. So Deb, if you ever want to go on the tour, I'll go with you,
Okay,
you know.
I'll go
you can
too.
do that.
I'll go 3.
okay,
Yeah.
I go again,
Yeah.
I'm always
It's
learning something new,
fascinating.
okay, all right, sounds like a good.
always learning something new.
I agree with you. But it's, it was really good. So, can't find my notes here. Okay. So, it's basically here in front of you as far as, what we learned there, you know, at the cash site. So what I would like to have you do, and Kathy too, to just look at it, and get your ideas, not only for you, but what's gonna work for you at your HOA, if you're part of HOA. You know, how is this going to apply, because it's not gonna apply, not all of it's going to apply, to you as well to the city. And so what I'd like to do in our next meeting, I think is the 12th of August, is just kind of go, and, you know, don't spend a ton of time on it, just, you know, this is just the first time we're going over this, just get some ideas as to what you think we can learn from this and what we should do. And then we'll make that an agenda item. Yeah, Randy?
Do you have this, I'm assuming that she sent this in a digital format?
Uh-huh,
Is it okay to share that digital format with us?
yeah, I don't see why not.
I would like to have.
You're talking about Little Girl Code?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
No,
Yeah.
did you get it? I didn't get it. I didn't get it either.
What?
I didn't.
She sent it to me and to.
Why don't you send it to all, send it on to all of us, then that would be great, because I do the same thing. I'm thinking that all we need to do is just start editing what, for your homeowners association, what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Start editing, bring your ideas of what you think the city should do,
Mhm.
to, put this together for our bonds, so, cause, you know, obviously, we're not gonna be having on the rooftop that issue, putting a poop.
No,
But where are we gonna do it?
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, and there are ideas on here of how to handle it, are really, top notch, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think what we'd be talking about is an open me first box and
Yeah,
manual
yes,
in each
yeah.
package.
Yes, exactly, we have to,
And
yeah,
then obviously at the emergency center and such, but
yeah.
you know, that's where they need to be at the cache.
So let's concentrate on this cache here, location,
Yeah.
as far as getting a repeat first and the
Then we
blocks,
have a model.
Cutting our teeth on that one.
right? And that
Oh,
way we
yeah,
can.
and like I think it was, Deb that says you learn and you go and you do it better. You read every time you do it, that's good. So if y'all would not mind doing that, that would be great, just come back on the 12th.
We don't have another meeting.
No, but I'm gonna be out of town.
I'm gonna be out on the 12th.
I'm sorry?
I'll be out, I think, on the 12th.
Okay.
But we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we can talk about it now because I'm going to be, so if we look at,
So you're not here on the
so
12th
we
either?
can, we can maybe find another day. So, our next meeting, what is July 22nd?
You're not gonna be here.
I'm not gonna be here.
So should we just delay it till the first week of August?
Well, that's what we talked about, to have it on the 12th, but Karen's not gonna be in town.
Oh, okay, would you be here on the
Neither
fifth?
is Deb.
I would be, you're not, so when would you be here?
I'm being farmer. I'm a farmer for the first, I'm not here until August 13th.
Okay,
So I'm a farmer at the beginning of August.
so how about you, Karen, what would be a little
I'm
time?
leaving the day after National Night Out. I'm waiting until after that to leave, and I'll be back on the 16th.
Should we do Monday the 19th?
Oh, that sounds, works for me.
Yeah.
Does that work for me?
August 19th works for me.
Okay, how about Randy?
August 19th works for you.
Yes.
Would that
Excellent.
be
All right.
Okay. All
Yes.
right.
Thanks for changing that, guys.
Yes.
So-
Yeah.
So can we clarify, just then, when is our next meeting?
The 19th,
Oh,
19th of
okay.
August.
something, that's the Monday at 4 o'clock. And so, we'll just come back and say, gee, this is what I learned, and we probably learned some of the same stuff, but
Right.
we'll have different opinions and different things. So,
Between now and then, I can totally, let's try and do a field trip to the, sorry, my work association, Hatfield Boys, that's not.
Are you tired?
It's how, no, it's how I remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you.
What's your schedule like? She's leaving
I'm leaving, the 19th.
on vacation
18th.
next week.
Are you in the 19th? What do you, is anybody available next week
What's that?
to do the Hatfields?
Are you talking to me?
Anybody?
I have one.
Oh, wait, not next week. So then the 22nd, anybody around the week of the 22nd? Oh, so you're gone.
I'm probably not gonna come back till maybe at the 27th of
Okay.
July.
I have to clarify something. So a moment ago, Councilor Colors asked, when is our next meeting? And Chair King said the 19th of August.
And that's when I'll be out of town.
No, the question was, our next meeting is on the 19th?
Of
And you said
August.
yes.
Yes.
But there is a meeting on July 22nd, and there's a meeting on August 5th.
So, in the last
So
meeting,
are those being canceled?
yeah, in the last meeting, we canceled the 22nd, and then we just a few minutes ago canceled the 12th and made it.
Okay, so upcoming meetings have been canceled, and the next meeting will be on August 18th. Okay.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, thank you. That's perfect.
So Deb, I'll be happy to go with you when I'm available,
Okay,
or when I'm back in town.
Yeah.
You know, that might
Yeah.
be not until August.
Also,
Can I just, so if I had a day that all of a sudden nothing was happening, can I just wander over there, or do I need to?
I need to call
Well,
someone.
I think, Randy went by himself.
well, but
It was especially-
I dovetail to their existing drill. They had a
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
drill that day.
Yeah,
So I
so
made
that's
a
how you
point, I
got
got
there.
there a little bit earlier, introduced
That's
myself
cool.
to her,
Okay,
and then we
yeah.
talked a little bit.
Well, that's good.
And then she was absolutely fine with that,
Yeah.
Worked out.
Interesting.
Great.
Did
So
you go to the
I'm just gonna.
Yeah,
go
I was
again.
there for the
Oh,
drill.
that's
So-
how
They didn't have nearly as many people as they were hoping.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't, I still didn't win any of the raffle prizes.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
Darn.
So-
Not that I remember that.
That's right. Not that would
Not that that was
disappoint you.
important.
Yeah. So, we'll get together and have another field trip.
Yeah, that sounds
If anybody else wants to go again, I don't know. what-
I do. Yeah. It was fascinating.
Okay, let's see. So. I think we're ready for, took care of that. Looking for, any public comments out there.
Just looked, no public, right.
I'm sorry?
I just looked to see if there were any participants, there's no.
Thank you, I appreciate that, thank you.
You don't
Okay.
have the overall poo-poo or poo-poo?
It's not. Okay, any committee member projects? Or, comments rather? Start with you, Deb. But would you like me to start with that sometime?
Thank you.
Okay.
Been
Randy?
making them as we go, so.
Okay, sounds good.
Same here.
Cindy?
I'm done.
Okay, I have one, project. So I've mentioned this before, guys, and I really would like to do this. The city of Seaside has a program, we're talking about caches and filling out caches, which I think is great. They also have a program where people put barrels in their garage if they're buying enough full of supplies are gonna help their islands. You know, and so, Kathy and I looked at it today when we got together, and evidently Kansas City has the same type of project, to where you announce what they're doing. The city will supply the barrels, will have room in the garage, will put a barrel, and that way, when something happens with Seaside, thought was we'll just come pick up the barrels, we can have an event and have one area to have all the barrels. But I'm thinking, no, I have a barrel in my garage, I'm gonna roll it out on 8th Avenue, that's where my barrel's gonna be, for my neighborhood and for my people. But the barrels are just simply supplied, just like the cash is just 50-gallon barrel, which is a much smaller version of what your cash is going to be. So let me just read what I saw on the Seaside's webpage, if you don't mind. It's called the Tsunami Supply Barrel Program. The city of Seaside provides emergency supply caches in high ground areas throughout the city. The supplies are stored in preparation for major evacuation resulting from a local subduction, sudden earthquake that could be followed by a tsunami or other major disaster. In 2013, with the help of the state and federal grant funding, dedicated volunteers from the Tsunami Advisory Group, which I didn't even know there was such a thing. They had 119 supply barrels filled with medical supplies, water purification systems, emergency rations, tarps, and radios. Each barrel has enough supplies to last 20 individuals for at least 3 days. They're stored in residents' homes above the induction zone and will be placed on the curb in the event of a tsunami. In the summer of 2020, the city restocked the barrels with fresh food, water purification tablets, batteries, and medical supplies. And it says, would you like to keep a supply barrel at home? All barrels are currently distributed along local households, but the city keeps a waiting list for interested families in case a barrel becomes available. If you live above the inundation zone and would like to host a barrel, contact so-and-so. I've always thought this is a great idea.
It's a great idea. I'll tell you, because either the Bay was disappointed that it wasn't gonna work out for a cash idea, because we totally picture a lot of folks headed up our direction.
I know.
And so, this bear, I can tell you that there are several families that have posted bear.
Dennis doesn't know it, but I would,
Right.
you know.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
we have a
just
big
so
garage.
nice.
Yeah, we have a big garage and I could do it easily. We just get rid of some stuff. And barrel it.
Right. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
How do we make that
How
happen?
does the city fulfill all the logistics with them?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know,
How do they
but
control?
I actually, because I learned about this when I went to a League of Oregon Cities convention, which was in Bend 2 years ago, 22. And I was just in the buffet line with a couple of people from Seaside. I don't even know how much talking about it. But they were talking about this and went, oh my gosh, this is great. And then I called, I think her name is Ann McBride, who's the emergency manager, and got more information. So I have notes somewhere about a lot of this, and so I just have to find them. But she was very happy to explain how it happened. The first thing we have to do is figure out how to get funding for the barrels. And then if FEMA or whoever's going to fund the barrels, or they're also gonna give us money for the food. So I brought this to Kim and Kathy way long time ago, or just putting in my hip pocket type of thing. So Kim went to a League of Oregon City meeting, just happened to stand in line with Seaside, and they were talking about it. So Kim, I'm sure, got a lot of information. So and she says, yeah, that's something that we should really look into.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of like, try to figure something out.
Yeah.
What does it look like?
Similar to, I remember Jenny DeVeris in one of her presentations several years back, commented on somebody, if you live in the inundation zone, make friends with somebody
Yes.
high up,
Yes.
friends in high places, she called it.
Yes.
And she put some stuff up at their house.
Yeah.
So it's kind of along the same lines.
Along the same lines, absolutely. And so we have a pretty good idea for are you familiar with the .com in that? Okay, where you need to have these barrels. And you look at their site and you can go And I think they have the Devani website. When they're talking about this, to see if your house is high enough to have one. But I just always thought that was a good idea.
I totally,
Yeah.
I really like the idea of friends in high places.
Yeah,
That could be a tip.
You could, right? Yeah, because that,
Thank you, Garth.
yeah, no, because then because I really like the idea, because I a little agree when I hear people I hear residents talk about non-residents in a negative way, like, oh, and what, and I, it's who we are.
It's a tourist town,
Exactly.
get it real.
Exactly, and so
That's
then.
who pays our bills is the TRT taxes.
Absolutely, and
So-
but there's that though, and then when we think about, when I'm thinking about when we have our makeup, and we've got our website, what a cool thing it is on there. About, okay, here's what we've got going, and then we've got friends in high places, and we've got, I mean, it's a very positive type of
Things you
thing.
could do.
Yeah, things you could do. Oh, become a friend in
Most
high
of
places.
their,
Absolutely, see, that's very community building.
I think so. Oh,
That's
so the
very
other thing too, I just remember, the city owns some land behind my house, and so that's another possibility of putting, a cash over there.
Right.
I'm not sure where that stands, but I've talked to Brady about it. And speaking of Brady, here's some good news. So, he's so sweet. He came in before the meeting and said, "Do you need me for anything? You have to stick around if you do." And I said, "I don't think so. I think that at this particular time that we don't." But he said, we have something called the bus barn, which where the cash is on. It's that great big barn area. They keep a lot of supplies and stuff. And he said he just, or he says, I don't know when he got it, but he said they have an available set of shelving. It's 7 feet tall, 7 feet long, and 3 feet wide. I don't know if he told you about that.
The shelving out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he said, as you start getting supplies and stuff, before you have your caches, maybe,
Right,
some
so
of the
we're
gas
together.
stuff,
Yeah.
maybe order some more food.
easier to sort. and stuff.
Yeah.
I like the idea of starting to get some of these supplies.
We're going to, yeah.
So if that Friends in High Places thing we would have involved, next time we have one of those meetings, we talked about that we want to have it in January, because it's a better time than we just get residents to do it. Everybody that walked in would get a flyer that said, be a friend of Friends Places. And
Oh, I love that.
exactly right,
Yeah.
and that, because every one of those dots is actually a potential, because they showed up that.
It's like you could be a friend in my place, or you
Or
need to
if-
find
I
Find
need
you
a
a friend,
friend.
exactly right.
I need a friend with a garage.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, and then it would be, oh, see, and that's great, because they may very well know somebody that didn't even know about it, and if they talked about, oh, that's a great idea, that's the way to get to lead into, that's spread the good news.
Yeah, so it's all good.
It's great.
Well, yeah, so I'm gonna look at that and figure it out. No more comments, I guess.
I'll just make one and just
Sure.
kind of, and this is kind of a perpendicular to our committee, just be aware that we're gonna be having a demonstration of our potential hydro cell for emergency, basically remote power source. And the folks that are designing them and this will be the people that making it and stuff, they're coming here. And we're hosting basically for our benefit, but then also opening up to different groups. And that's gonna be on July 24th. There's gonna be 3 different meetings, same thing, but a little bit different focus. The third meeting, which would be more in the afternoon or evening, is gonna be the one for more general public. But the first and second one are for like the people on our task group that are trying to get the source and then city. So just to be aware, that's July 24th, and they're bringing the actual working hydro cell.
So explain that, I don't know what that is.
A hydrogen, it's a fully self-contained energy source that runs on hydrogen.
Oh,
Is it powered off of water?
It's powered primarily off of water. They pull the hydrogen out of water, H2O. So they pull that out,
Fascinating.
and it's powered by hydrogen. And right now, that would be, instead of buying propane or oil or whatever, and it's green.
Yeah,
So we'd have, have a supply of hydrogen basically to, at least to start with, to basically power, and these are powerful, they'll
how large is it?
well, it's gonna be on a trailer, and so, the one that they have, the idea is that these could be down the road, way down the road, like every home or a cluster of home, they have a hydrocell, and they could power 3 or 4 houses in an apartment complex. It's kind of the newest technology that's emerging as one of the more green,
Well,
generically
I love it.
and remote, in the sense that it's not like you're gonna plug it into the power grid, but it's intended as kind of a standalone. And then, of course, the even and more exciting thing is that if this technology takes off, which this is the ground floor of it, is a potential for even producing the hydrogen for the area.
So how would you do that?
Well, you can get big grants and stuff like that and find a place and basically have a hydrogen processing plant there. Because the only one right now on the west coast is, or even in the west, altogether, is in California.
Well, we have water.
I know, that's the thing, we have water, there's a few things that would, because it does require an initial power setup, but again.
Seawater be used?
Yes. I mean, we're gonna learn a lot more of the details and such, but,
So,
it's pretty exciting, we're moving forward. Of course, we haven't heard officially if we're getting the grant yet, but the decision has been made, but they haven't told us what the
Will
decision
you be
is.
promoting this so we'll know more specific?
Actually, we're meeting
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
and we had to change it to 3 o'clock, so I have another meeting at 1 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah, so
yeah.
this Wednesday, we're doing actually trying to make the
so
plan.
how did y'all come up with this idea? Is it-
Well, the
great
task
idea.
group has been working on the grant
Yeah.
for the alternative
Okay.
resilient energy, is, just been researching and looking at solar and all
All
this,
that.
because that was the idea. We went into it not with a specific source in mind as much as,
Learn about
this
it.
is the need.
Yeah.
And phase 1 of the grant is actually doing the research of now what's the most feasible sources or could be multiple sources, for particular sites. Because the first step for us, it's emergency, that's what our
2 weeks straight.
goal is right now is, if the power goes out, how can we power a warming center and the emergency center?
Well, that would
And
be
the
nice
fire
to have.
department, and potentially eventually the gas stations, or, our own harbor fuel sources and stuff, so. It's pretty exciting, we're waiting the decision's been made about the grant, the phase 1 of the grant, but, we haven't been notified what that,
We won't
nobody's
get
been notified.
notified till September.
Oh, did they finally put,
Mhm.
well, we made the decision.
Will this happen in Little Elko?
What's that?
Your demonstration happen in Little?
No, it's here, it's at
Right
the
here.
community center.
They're coming in from the East Coast, Central
Wow.
US, they're putting,
Baton
the developers are putting a lot of money into it.
So that's
This trip
July
to come here.
24th at what time?
Well, they're through,
4
I don't know
o'clock,
that
I think, was 4 o'clock-ish for the community
for the community,
displays.
yeah, that sounds right.
But it's here at City Hall.
No,
Oh,
community
the
center.
community center.
Sorry.
Yeah, we changed that since
That's,
we were just gonna do a 1 day.
Well, I'll be out of town, I have some. Okay.
pretty exciting.
Yeah,
Very
very
exciting.
clear.
Excited.
The idea that we're so dependent on the other side of the coast range
Exactly.
is just crazy.
Exactly.
The fact that we can't get, we're already marooned, and now we can't get, I mean,
Yeah.
we need to consider ourselves needing to be much more self-sufficient. Do you know, can you change salt water into that, or is it so that we have to gather?
There's a
fresh
multi,
water?
I believe it's a multi-step thing, but that would be the part of the
Like a
discussion.
desalinization thing in order to use that? It's interesting.
Thank you, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's exciting, it's exciting
It is.
possibilities.
That's great. Any other comments? Okay, thank you so much for coming. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate all the hard work here.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, great.
And Gina meet at 10:30.